I'm not kidding. If I could take a picture and show you what it looks like in here, that's too funny, John.
What's happening? Hey, this is John Kitchens. This is episode 75 of Expert Mentors Live. Super excited for today's episode. We've got Mr. Brandon Town and special guest Trisha Turner joining us. So I'm really excited for today's call for you guys. We're gonna talk a little bit about getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. Talk about our limiting mindset, and I'm sure we'll dive into many other things as well. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the Q&A or chat, and let's rock and roll. Brandon, Trish, say hello to the Honey Badger Nation.
Hey guys.
What's up, guys? How you doing? I know most of you are down here, but you'll see this later, and I appreciate it. We're looking forward to meeting up with you later.
I'm just here for support.
Hey, I get rid of her, so she's here.
Yeah, so it's man, let's talk about that a little bit because, you know, I mean, I was excited to get you on. I just know, you know, your backstory, and I know you're going to be able to add a lot of value to people today, especially a topic that we're going to dive into that most people will want to shy away from, that are not comfortable diving into. And I really believe, you know, you and I have had enough conversations over the years, even talking through this stuff, is that the more comfortable you can be at having these conversations, diving into this, you know, accepting it, right? It's, you know, Brandon, you and I've talked about it, and Trish, you know, as well, is that, you know, once we have awareness and we realize where we're at, then we have to accept it, right? That's the key, because if we don't accept it, we can choose to do something else, but the pattern will repeat itself unless we, you know, acknowledge what's really going on. So let's dive in. I want, you know, the Honey Badger Nation to hear your story, and let's really dive into the meat of today's call.
Yeah, well, first off, I just wanted to say that I believe most people spend a lot of their time thinking about doing something and wanting to do it, but then nobody takes action. And so that's why I wanted to get my story out, because I believe that a lot of people are like me. Of course, not everybody. So the biggest thing about getting on here today was, what was I going to talk about, right? We had that conversation, and where can I add value? And I had a limited belief that, you know, all these mega agents and these big teams weren't going to get any value from me. But again, that's a limited belief. I knew I was going to come on here today and have this conversation because I have grown to becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable, because I know every time I do something like we're doing right now, I get that much closer to my goals. And so I think I can resonate with a lot of people that maybe already have made a big change in their lives and haven't seen kind of the finish line, you know, the happiness from it yet, or are thinking about making a big change or a big decision in their lives. And this might help them make that decision.
No.
Yeah.
I love it. And back. I mean, you've been. I mean, just even previous to real estate, right? And even the decisions that you made, even to get to that, to even get into real estate, right? Not let alone making the move over to EXP, like so many of us have over the last couple of years. But even before that, right? Talk about how, you know, making those transitions has really impacted you and has helped you grow.
I will. So, like I said, I got a lot of my personal skills and started being involved and working with people at a very young age. Right out of college, I got that full-time job. Most of my friends were still going through college, going through university, but I was a corporate field trainer for a company called M&M Meat Shops. In Canada, it's a huge franchise. I think at one point they had 500 stores. I think there's fewer than that now, but
crazy.
I know I was at 21. I was the age of 21. I was out there training some franchisees, 50, 60, 70 years old. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I was out there doing it. And so I think I was lucky enough to be in that position at that age to start growing those skills. The reason I wanted to share all that information with you in my bio, from going from that to working at a nuclear plant, is because I think that's, first of all, I think that's pretty cool. What I
Fascinating.
did. But, right, it really is. And I mean, when I say I've worked face-to-face with a reactor, I mean, I've worked face-to-face with a nuclear reactor, right? So I've done it all. You make good money doing that, obviously, at this day and age, because there's some consequences potentially from it. But
Lots.
I have probably dozens, if not hundreds, of friends that still work at the plant, and I very much respect them. People make a lot of money. They have a great living. But for me, that's not what I saw my future being. And again, nothing wrong with that. It is actually a great place to work. It's one of the best places in Ontario to work. But I had a different vision for my life and what I wanted to do with it. And so my friends, some of them still joke about it. They joke and say that I'm one of the only people that have left Bruce Power for something else because everybody else is trying to get in there. So I like that because I like to be different, first of all, but I also like to people to know that, and they respect my decision for leaving a big salary and big benefits and a steady future and a steady life for something that is unstable, unsteady, not guaranteed. And I've never looked back. I've gone up, I've gone down, I've gone in, I've got out. In my opinion, that I've had one of the craziest journeys in the first 7 years of anybody's being in real estate. I'm sure some people will have.
Everybody's got a story.
Everybody's got a story, right? But it's been a journey, and I don't regret it for a second. I think you need to follow your dreams, and here we are, sitting here with you, sitting here with Trisha, sitting here in sunny Las Vegas, connecting with these incredible people and this incredible group. And I'm just very, very fortunate to be here because of this decisions that I've made.
Yeah. And,
you know what, John? He was saying last night that he was nervous about this today, which is why I'm here to support.
And I am, and I'm okay with saying that because I think you need to be vulnerable in a lot of situations. And as you know, John, being a coach of mine and a very good coach of mine, that's super important. And I've tied that into my day to day to make sure that I can grow.
Yeah, and he was like, what kind of value could I possibly bring to people that are these mega agents, these top producers? I mean, what kind of value could I possibly share? And I'm like, are you kidding me?
I'm not.
There's so many people out there that are scared to do what he did. I mean, he left, things running smooth to come over to EST where things weren't going to be running smooth for him. And he's got to recreate things and recreate the madness and recreate momentum. And he's doing it all on his own. And every day it's a struggle and a challenge, but he's making a difference. And there's people out there that are like, if Brandon can do it, so can I. Why can't you? It's all in your mind. And he's doing it.
Yeah, I would counter that and say that I'm certainly not doing it all on my own. I have a great support system. I have great partners.
Yes. Yeah.
I know
not a team. Because we have the best support, right?
It's really fulfilling and really rewarding, especially after the fact, right? It's those things that we're like, and then you get through it and you're like, man, you can feel yourself growing in so many different ways, pushing through those, those uncomfortable zones, right? That's just how we continue to keep growing. And so like for you making the decision to get into real estate, let's talk a little bit about that, because I mean, what it sounds like is that you were at a job, right, that everybody, like you said, is fighting to get into, and you had it, right? And that had to be like super uncomfortable to make that jump into real estate where there's so many unknowns. And that to me says a lot, right? And it's just being able to be able to do that and make that transition. So talk a little bit about that. And, what is your thought process? Is there a mental process that you go through anytime that you recognize, I mean, we can talk about this call as a great example, but I think getting into real estate and then real estate specific examples, but is it the same framework? It's like, shit, I don't want to do that. And then it's like, okay, I know I have to do that. And then I'm just going to do that. Is there like a mental process that you go through that helps you kind of work through the uncomfortableness and knowing that, man, this don't feel right, but you know what, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be better for it?
Well, I think that it's from experience of doing those things that I don't want to do. Almost every single time something positive comes out of it. But what I took from Michael Reese actually last week, which I really like, is when you're questioning something, or in my opinion, if you think something's going to be uncomfortable and you don't want to do it, I think that's when you should think about doing it twice as hard. With that mindset, if I don't want to do something, I'm thinking about it twice as hard as to why I need to implement it as soon as possible, pretty much.
And
Man,
usually what
that's
you
so
don't
true.
want to do is what moves the needle too. That's the thing that matters the most.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, Trish, you were on Expert Mentors earlier earlier episodes with us, and we talked a little bit of mindset too, right? So,
Oh, you.
you know, just being able to like that. I know you've been a great you know, support system, just like Brandon had mentioned, and that's the cool thing. And I mean, everybody listening in is a part of the EXP Honey Badger family. And that's one of the coolest things, right? Is that you've got support no matter what, wherever you're at. And, you know, just being here in Vegas and connecting with people, you're like, you know, you just see it. Right. And so, anything that, you know, from a, you know, being uncomfortable and helping push through, anything that, has really worked well for you as well.
I think it's just like we were talking about, you know, it's all in your mind. Yeah, you know what you have to do, but people so often let fear creep in there because it's going to be hard. Like you and I have talked about it last week, you know, some things that in my office were challenging for me last week. And you said it, well, the warning signs were there. You knew it was going to be a challenge. And I said, yeah, I did. I opened that door. I knew what I was doing when I opened that door and where I was going. And
Yep.
so it's the choice you have to make. Are you going to go through the door or are you not? Are you just going to stand there? You can't just keep standing there. You got to go through the door. Same thing like with you, you're training. You're like, I know at one point, you know, my leg's probably going to hurt and I may get injured. You know what you're doing. The warning signs are there. With Brandon, he knows what he's doing. He's just got to keep pushing through, just like every other agent out there. Every agent is struggling, no matter what level you're at, because real estate's challenging and it changes every single day. And there's always somebody with a new shiny object or something new that's going to try to distract you. And you just have to stay focused, stay with the right people, and stay with the right mindset, and you'll be fine. Do the right things in the right order every day, and you'll be great. And then share that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, you know, like these expert mentors are really, really powerful for a lot of reasons. And, ran into a few folks last night and, you know, that we were out and about, little kind of kickoff. And, you know, it's cool. You know, it's like, hey man, I appreciate you know, hey, this episode, this whatever. And it's like, man, it's crazy, man. You know, 75 episodes and you're like, is anybody even paying attention? And, I remember, I think Brandon, before we headed out last night, I think we were standing there and it's, I forget who we were talking to. And, they said, it doesn't matter, man. As long as, you know, if you impacted one person by just sharing your message, it's so worth it. And you, man, you put in there one of your quotes from Gene Frederick, man. I read that like 5 or 6 times last night and it's so true. It's one of the most powerful things that I think I've read in a long, long time. And, man, I'll let you share that quote because I think it's had an impact on you and definitely on myself just going through it. And, you know, obviously we all know Gene and how amazing he is. So yeah, share that and what that means.
Yeah. In that episode of One Big Fire, I truly listen to it once a week because there's so much gold in there. But what it is so it's to the world you might be one person, but to one person you might be the world. So if we can affect one agent at a time, we can be the world to them. And I truly do believe that. You know, there's 2,000 plus honey badgers in there, and I strongly believe that we can impact at least one life from somebody watching this today. I know that from our events last week, we just had Heidi join our group. She just posted in the group. She's pretty excited. And I think her being new, I think this will really help her as she's just new to this change.
Yeah, we were, you know, what Trish was just saying just a minute ago, just want to kind of recap. We were having a conversation last week and, you know, we all see it in our business, right? And it's, you know, if we're fighting for commission dollars right now, it's not what we're doing right now that caused that. It's what happened 60, 90 days ago. Right. And so we were talking is that, you know, my calves and my knee is, I mean, it doesn't feel right. And yet, you know, continuing to keep pushing. So what my message to Trisha was, if my knee blows out, I can't be upset because the warning signs are there. And it's those things in our mind, right? The things that are going on in the situation that we've got to, you know, we have that level of awareness and we can choose whatever we want to do about it. Right. So, like for me in the same example, continuing to push with, you know, with what's going on in training and everything, if, you know, I mean, smart would be to go to get it checked out. But, you know, if I don't and, you know, keep pushing on it, but yet if something happens, I can't be upset. Right. I have that level of awareness. And I think that's even pushing through doing the things that you don't want to do. It's, it really carries over, especially in this business, right? Because getting comfortable doing the boring things, man, it's just, it's no fun, right? It's no fun prospecting every day. It's no fun, you know, nurturing and following up with clients. It's no fun showing properties, doing open houses, negotiating contracts on a consistent basis, day over and over again. But yet we know those are the things that we have to do to be successful in this business. And there's not really much more that is required to have, you know, the outcome that we're after, but yet we want to do other things because we think that that's going to produce the outcome, and it never does. And so it's getting comfortable doing the hard things once you have that level of awareness, even when you don't want to do it. And so I think, like, you know, really pushing through on this call today, it was like, you know, you had said, it was like, shit, man, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And I was like, you're going to do great. It's going to be awesome. Yep. And you know, once you made that decision, right, then it's like, let's go, let's do it. We're going to do it. We're going to talk through it. We're going to add value. So, I really want to, you know, for people to take that away of, hey, these are the things that and they're, but I'm going to do them anyways. Talk a little bit more about some of that and, you know, some of the thought processes that have helped you, you know, as you transition into real estate specifically. And then we can even talk about, you know, even the last, you know, 6 to 12 months, you know, doing the things that you've had to do to even be in this position, to be sitting here with us in Las Vegas at EXP.
Well, you know what, I'll tell a little bit of a story about earlier in my career. And then I think we can touch on some of the things in the last 6 to 12 months. So in my first year of real estate, you know, I was selling maybe, you know, a home here, home there. I was kind of keeping my head maybe at the water line, paying off some expenses, but taking on new ones as a new commission check was rolling in. And I made a decision to go to my first real estate conference, growth conference. I took my credit card. I had no money. I certainly probably almost maxed it out. And I booked a ticket to Dallas, the Exponential Growth Summit. So I sat front row at that event every single day. I was there first every morning. I think that was the year even Hal Elrod was there. I was down first to meet him. And I mean, like, I went all in, but I maxed out my credit card to do it. I sat there. I remember walking through the hallway and I was like, holy crap, there's Michael Reese. At that time, he was a celebrity to me, right? We'd been going through all the courses. He truly was. I still have that photo that pops up on Facebook every year in October for that anniversary photo that pops up. So guess what we were doing last week is we had 3 events. I picked up Michael from the airport. We went to Barrie. We met a new recruit, Canadian recruit, Tim. We did an event in his town. We went back to London, Ontario, and then we went to Milton, Ontario. We crushed it, 3 events together. I spent as much time as I could with him. I asked as many questions as I could, just listened to everything that genius has to say. And that's where, you know, that's where I've came in 7 years, from thinking he was, you know, and believing he was a celebrity to, you know, trying to be on his level and being on his level. And what I'm getting at with that story, I think it's a pretty cool story, is that I truly got uncomfortable and I went into financial debt to grow my life and make some changes in my life. And I think that if you're going to do something, I think probably the moral of that story is go all in, and big and good things can happen down the road, right? Where I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that I'd be sitting here talking to you, talking to Trisha at that point in that stage of my life. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's extremely powerful. And I think we've all had, you know, those type of experiences, or we've had the opportunity to have those type of experiences and we haven't pulled the trigger. Right. And I think those are the ones that, you know, from a regret standpoint that we start to have. And it's like, man, I wish I would have just, you know, I wish I would have done that. Right. And, you know, you build on that and that doesn't happen again for whatever reason it is. And, it's just like you had kind of mentioned when we were talking about, you know, preparing for this call, is that, you know, sometimes we think through things too much instead of just taking action. And, you know, we think ourselves out of the required action to get the results that we're chasing, that we're after. And, you know, it's like you said, man, there is no perfect moment. It's just, it's just the moment. And when you know it aligns to whatever it is that you want to accomplish, you just have to do it no matter what it is. And talk a little bit about that. I mean, that's a great story with Michael and Trish, you know, feel free to chime in, because I know, you know, you live this each and every day. I mean, just even things that you're working through, you know, I think that's really powerful. And, you know, just once you know in your gut, and a lot of the time it's a flip of a coin too, right? It's like, man, you know, I don't know. And if whatever it is, and I think you're better off doing it than not doing it, even if it's the wrong thing, because you're going to learn from it. And so share some more examples of that, you know, that's really been, you know, impactful for you guys, because I think, you know, those stories can resonate with everybody listening in.
Well, I think it's like with everything in life. If you're waiting for that perfect time to make this move, waiting for that perfect time to make a decision, there's never a perfect time in anything. We're not perfect people. None of us were created perfect. So everything's going to be a challenge. If it's something that matters, everything's going to be a challenge. Everything's going to be a struggle. It doesn't come easy. If it was easy, we'd all be doing it. We'd all be successful, but it doesn't. It's the people that push through and make things happen and make a difference. And then they help people along, because most people have that limiting belief. It's too hard. I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. I don't know who's going to help me do it. It's all the unknown. They don't know what they don't know. And so it's being there for people, being there to support people, being there to build people up and remind them, hey, hold on a second, because we all got stories. We all come from places, you know, that maybe aren't so great. We all have challenges, and some days they're a setback, and it's a huge setback sometimes. And it's like, whoa, let me actually set back and think about what just happened and why did this happen, and how can I grow from here, or do I need to pivot and to do something else? And maybe I was headed down the wrong path. Maybe that's why this setback happened. And so I think we become so busy doing busy stuff that we lose focus of the things that matter and the things that move the needle. And I think we need to stay on that path and not be so distracted. And so sometimes those setbacks are good. They're good for us and for our business, because it does give us time to refocus and be like, hey, well, wait a second. That was not what I should have been doing. And I'm really kind of glad that happened, because I need to reassess some things and, you know, cut the cord. And I think the more reality things like that set in and happen in our lives, the better we are. We grow internally, and then we can help others grow. And then that just comes back.
Yeah, I think you need to wake up every day, look at the tasks at hand to take you closer to your goal. Mm-hmm. Check the ones off that make you the most uncomfortable and do them first.
Oh,
I truly 100%. Believe that you need to do that, and you'll get closer to your goal.
Yep.
But I mean, it'll also help you grow too. I've done lots of things that haven't worked out fantastic, or you know, you're throwing obstacles every single day, especially in our business. Mm-hmm. But every time you find a solution, I do anyways, because if you sit down and you problem solve, you can always find a solution to something. Mm-hmm. So the best part is when those problems continue to come in, which they always will in your life. You're never going to have a perfect life. They're going to come in and you're going to be like, well, I guess I have to figure out how to do this. It's not like, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's just, how am I going to solve this problem? Right. And that's the mindset I'm in now. It also alleviates a lot of stress out of your life, too. A lot of built up maybe anger or stress that you don't actually need to deal with.
That's great. It's a great point.
You know what, too? I think it's who you surround yourself with, quite honestly. Because when I was, you know, with my own brokerage and the owner there, you know, you're surrounded with people that are doing great things, and they're all struggling. They're all trying in real estate, but a lot of times it's hard to be around people that are visionaries and have this huge vision. And if you get around people that have big goals, big dreams, and they see it, it just fuels you up. So when we come to these events, it's like, oh my gosh, you need that recharge, I need it. It's one of the greatest things I think about our group is this, the support, the collaboration, and the things that we do for each other, with each other.
100%. Environment is stronger than willpower. And, especially, like what you had just mentioned, Brandon, and willpower is our greatest energy resource, right? And it's also the one that gets depleted the fastest. And so it's so important. Two things that you said. One, we have to surround ourselves with people that are going to push us to think bigger, think better, and really do, see them doing things that, like, I know, once you see it, then you're like, okay, cool, I can do that too, right? It's possible. And then, the other thing there is thinking about, doing the hard things, like you said, right? It's in getting up every morning and doing that hard thing. And it's, eat that frog, right? There's a reason you eat the frog first thing in the morning, because that's when your energy and your willpower is at its highest. And you have the likelihood, the highest probability of knocking it out and getting it done. And so that's why I love what you said is that you're aware every morning when you get up, what are the hard things that you have to do, and you do them first. Because if you do those things, you're going to get closer to your outcomes, your objectives. You're going to keep progressing. You're going to keep moving forward. And instead of, just making excuses, doing easy things, and pushing off the hard stuff. So that was a great point there to make sure. It's like, hey guys, get clear. If you don't like prospecting, if you don't like, having that difficult conversation with a client to get a price reduction or whatever the case may be, do that first, right? That's a huge victory for the day. And when you start building on wins, those wins turn into more wins, turn into more wins, turn into more wins. And that's how you build that momentum to keep moving forward.
100%.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
So, Brandon, let's dive in a little bit, anything else there from, I know, really the topic was getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, but anything, there that you also want to touch in on from that limiting beliefs, limiting mindset that was really profound for you, that like really resonated, that would be a couple good nuggets for everybody listening in.
From a limiting belief standpoint, where to go with that? I think the two really do tie together. I don't know. I'm searching for something here, but I think that I don't know. I think that what we've discussed today, I think that I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry, but I think that you get in your own way a lot, and so your beliefs are limited based on. I'm just gonna pull it up. Pull it up here.
But basically, it was, and while you're pulling that up, with Brandon, he knew the struggle was going to be real when he was moving over to EXP, and I don't think he realized how big a struggle it was. Because it was just a whole different culture for him. And so it made things real uncomfortable for him. Yeah. And it was hard and challenging. A good 30 days of it was really hard for him. He's pushed through, and he's triumphant, and he's amazing.
I think that my belief was that I couldn't go out and do things the way I wanted to do it without what I currently had in place. And I thought about that, and I thought about that for 6 months, then 12 months, then 18 months, until I finally made the decision. But I had just felt so much pain by that point that I just said, I have to do it now. But I think that with the right support, with the right coaching, with the right mentors, with the right collaboration, I do strongly feel and believe that you can do whatever you want to do. I don't think that I'm not saying I went out and did everything on my own, because that's why I wanted to correct you and challenge you earlier, because I have not done any of this on my own. I think that you really do need a good support system. I think that my wife's been an incredible support system to me throughout this entire process. I think that you have been a great support system, John. I think Tricia has. I think, Michael has. I think everybody within our Honey Badger Nation has helped me throughout this. I have great friends that have supported me through these decisions. And I do think that creating a good support system helps. But yeah.
I couldn't imagine doing it without it,
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or why? Why would you?
Yeah. Why? Yeah. It doesn't make sense. And I remember one of the things, and I think this is a good nugget for everybody listening in is, when you're going through shit, right? And when you made the decision, and I mean, I'll just give a little context for everybody listening in, because I think everybody's been in a situation like this to where you just made a decision. You knew, and sometimes we don't handle the transition as best as we should. Sometimes we just do. And, because we know, right? We know it's the right thing. It's the direction you want to go. You're not going to wait around. You just pull the ripcord and it's time to go. And though what we have to realize, and this is what I remember telling you, is that it's the situation that you're in is not how it's going to be forever. Right. So when we do hard shit and we make transitions and we make moves, sometimes it's like, it's so uncomfortable. And it's like, I don't know if this is the right decision. I don't know if I did the right thing. And I think that's why it's also supportive, like you said, to have that support system around you to be like, yeah, dude, you made the right decision. Just keep going. And so sometimes when we're in the fire, we think that that's how it's going to be forever. And it's not. It's just it's so short term. And I think we have to be reminded of that. If we know that and we tap into our past experiences and like, hey, because so give some context, right? So like for you today versus 6 months ago, whenever you made the move to EXP, it's not even the same, right? It's like, holy moly, this is terrible. I'm going through all of this. And I just remember telling you, it's like, dude, it's not going to be forever, man. It's just like, don't focus on the short term for the longevity of whatever it is you're doing. Right. This is a long game, right? Dude. I mean, you're so young, and it's like, think about the next 20 years. And so most people can't think beyond next weekend, let alone think past 12 months, let alone 10 years, let alone 20 years. But the more that you can allow your mind to go in that direction and think long-term, then you don't get so fixated on the current situation, because what you're doing is it's short-term. It's so short-term, right? I mean, it's a blink, and it's like, just stay focused on the bigger picture. Don't take your eye off of whatever it is that you're getting after. And this will pass, right? This is just a short period of time. And how it feels today is not what it is for the long term. So I think that was, I remember having that conversation with you. I've had that conversation with a lot of folks over the years, and it's like, just because the way it is today doesn't mean that that's how it's going to be forever. Get through the fire, keep going, keep walking, keep moving. Don't stop, one foot in front of the other. And, you're going to wake up, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months from now, and you're going to be like, what the hell, man? I can't even believe that I was worried about that situation back then. And
I almost already feel that way. Another story. So I was at a wedding on the weekend, and I was talking to a gentleman, and he was interested in the business that we work in. And I told him my story. I told him what I did. I told him, kind of what I left behind. And he was extremely inspired. He said, well, I've been thinking about doing this move in my industry as well, and you've really just inspired me to potentially make this move. And so we've actually been speaking. He grabbed my number. We've been speaking since that event, and sometimes that's all it takes. So hopefully maybe I'll send him this episode of Expert Mentors, and that'll really make him make that final decision to make that change.
It is, man. It's that little nudge, and we all need it, right?
Conversation.
Just a conversation.
That's it, man.
You never know the lives you can change.
Yeah. That's it. I think, so it's back to what I said at the beginning of the call, it all starts with a level of awareness, right? Once you're aware of the situation you're in, and you actually, then you accept where you're at, right? It's like, man, okay, this is where I'm at. And then I accept it. What I missed for so many years was that the acceptance part, right? I had a high level of awareness, and then you can make a choice. Well, if you don't have acceptance of where you're at, then you can tend to fall and find yourself back in that same situation. So awareness, acceptance, and then what's the choice? What do you want to do? I like choices because it gives you, it makes you look at all of the opportunities, and then you can make a decision, right? Decision means to cut off. And so it's like, boom, I'm done. So that's kind of the mental process, right? And I think, just knowing your story, you had a high level of awareness, and I think you looked at it and you finally accepted it. And then, you're like screw it, boom, these are my choices, boom, I'm gone. This is my decision. And I think that's really powerful for a lot of people to understand and really just kind of embrace. And once you do that, then, then it's work through it and not get caught up in the short term, because it's starting something new and it's all the newness that has to go with it to be able to get it where you want to go.
You got it, man.
Love it. Hey, so any final things to kind of wrap up this awesome episode of Expert Mentors Live?
I'll wrap it up by saying, I mean, if there's some people watching within our group that, want to know more about my story and what I did and why I did it, I'm happy to have that conversation with anybody. I do think it's in some ways inspiring. And I do think that, if you want to have that conversation, I'm available. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to be a leader in trying to help you make those decisions to, maybe if it is that kickstart, maybe if it is that big final decision of what you've been trying to accomplish for a long time. I'm here to help with open arms. And that's what I would leave it off at.
Love it. Perfect.
I appreciate you, Trish. Thanks for jumping in, Brandon. As always, thank you being a true expert mentor and adding value back to the Honey Badger Nation. For all of you guys listening in, if you want to reach out to Brandon, just hit him up on Facebook, and definitely take the opportunity to connect. Brandon's he's an awesome guy and an even better human being. So take advantage of it, and you won't be disappointed. So, guys, I appreciate you. I know we're here in, like you said, sunny Las Vegas, kicking off EXP Con, and we've got a couple awesome days ahead of us. But like I said, I appreciate you guys making the time, jumping on, and adding massive value.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Hope to be back for episode 150.
That's it, man. 75, 150. I love it. Awesome, guys. Thank you. We'll see you guys on the next episode.